Prepared for hacks, guys. What is going on? I'm back today with another Aura's OU Wi-Fi battle. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded in the last couple of days, guys, but it has been Thanksgiving week. And yes, I say week. In the United States, for those of you that don't live here, Thanksgiving is a fairly large, kind of like family gathering time. So there's been a lot of family stuff going on. And so I apologize, it's just been really hectic this week, but videos are going to start coming back out regularly here. I have a battle against Sophita today. She's going to be leading off with her Rotom. I'm going to be leading off with my Cobalion, my Senpai over here, because Cobalion is Senpai. I mean, look at it, the thing is powerful. But I'm going to get my Stealth Rocks up turn 1, which is great for me, seeing as she doesn't really have a Defogger on her team or a Rapid Spinner, and that she does have a Talonflame, so it works out really well for me in this position here. They do end up going for a Hydro Pump, which I find kind of odd. I feel like you really should have gone for Will-O-Wisp there, but I guess if you're just trying to get damage off or possibly take my Cobalion out, then Hydro Pump is going to be the best way to do that. I do end up Volt Switching out here, and I'm going to be going on out into my Ferrothorn. I don't really care too much if Ferrothorn gets burned because I do have leftovers and I have Leech Seed. So as long as I'm able to, you know, kind of wiggle my way through things, the Will-O-Wisp burn won't really be that harmful to me. I still will be gaining health back, just not as much with the burn, however. But I get my leftovers recovery here. Thankfully, no burn or anything like that, except for this turn right here, where she does end up going for the Will-O-Wisp. So I do get burned here, unfortunately. However, I can start setting up all of my hazards now, get my first layer of spikes up, which is great. Excuse me there. But they're going to get some leftovers recovery as well. I'm fine with that. I don't really care too much. It wasn't that big of an HP difference, so leftovers doesn't matter to me at all right there. I'm going to start taking some burn damage here. They're going to end up going for the Volt Switch. It's not going to be doing too much to me at all, as I do resist it. And they end up going out into their... What are they going on into? Their Gallade. So Gallade is a very strong Pokemon, especially if it's Mega. I can't remember if this one was Mega or not. I feel like it was not, if I recall correctly. But I do get my Leech Seed up. Not really, though, because it dodged it. Gallade over there dodging the, the Leech Seed. But I'm going to take some burn damage here. And then there, you know, I'm going to be switching on out. I'm a little ahead, and I need to stop being ahead. I need to wait until things actually happen. But I go out to my Azumarill here. They end up going for the Drain Punch. I easily eliminate Drain Punch and take it quite nicely at that. And then I can go for Play Rough, I can go for Waterfall here, I can go for Knockoff, I can go for any move that I have on this Azumarill here and get something off out of it. They end up going on out into the Venusaur, which is their Mega, I believe. And I think I ended up going for Play Rough. Venusaur is the one thing that Azumarill has a hard time with. And especially if it's Mega, because you can't knock off a Mega Stone. The Mega Stone is actually, you put it on your Pokemon, but actually your trainer is the one holding the Pokemon Mega Stone, so that's why you can't actually knock it off. For those that were wondering, there you go. There's a fun fact for you. But the Venusaur does Mega Evolve here. I end up going on out into my Thundurus, my Thundurus over here. It's been a long time since I've used Thundurus Therian. It has been a long time, but I love this Pokemon a lot. It's very strong. It does get Volt Absorb, so it helps kind of beat Rotom a little bit. Especially if you can predict the Volt Switch, you can get some health back. I end up going for the Taunt on the Venusaur, because I didn't want it to be going for Synthesis. I didn't want it to be going for Leech Seed, etc., etc., etc. But they end up going out into Rotom, so at least now I can't be burned. I ended up going for Nasty Plot here, because I was thinking, okay, if they go for Volt Switch, it's not going to do anything. If they go for Hydro Pump, it'll hurt, but it won't hurt that much. And then I see the Hydro Pump damage, and I'm like, oh my god, they got a crit. So I actually only really get 2 uses out of my Thundurus here, because I am Life Orbed on top of having Nasty Plot. So I go for the Thunderbolt. It's easily going to be taking out this Rotom. Like I said, +2 Life Orbed. There's no doubt about that Rotom not living that. But as you can tell, the Life Orb is going to be taking its toll, and I actually don't even get 2 uses out of my Thundurus because they have a Talonflame here. Stealth Rock's coming in quite nicely here, taking out half of that Talonflame's HP. They end up going for the Brave Bird here, and it's easily going to take me out. I mean, 9 HP. Even if I was at full HP, that would do at probably like 60%. Brave Bird from a Talonflame, especially a Choice Banded Talonflame, which this one is no bueno, and it's not... It definitely hurts a lot more than you would expect, but I do have a Rotom Wash on my team. It's not going to be that big of a deal. especially since they are choice banded. I know that they can't roost. They don't have anything on their team that can like wish baton pass or anything like that. And even if they did, Stealth Rock's damage comes in before the wish recovery comes in, so their Talonflame is dead there no matter what. I ended up just going for the Hydro Pump, I believe, and finishing off the Talonflame. But they're going to go out into the Venusaur here. Venusaur, again, it walls a lot on my team. Venusaur is a very strong Pokemon, and not necessarily in just its attack stat, but in its typing as well. And with its Mega Evolved ability, there isn't too much you can do. You actually kind of just have to have something on it for your team, because if you forget something in OU for Venusaur, and your opponent happens to have one, you're kind of screwed, because Venusaur just walls you all day. And you can only get 2 statuses on Venusaur. Sleep if you use something like Hypnosis or something like that. Well, there's 3 if you count Sleep. But Burn and Paralysis. And Burn is the better one to get on Venusaur in my opinion, just because you know, it helps slowly drain away that HP. But Paralysis is good as well if you want to try and hack some out a little bit. But you can't Toxic a Venusaur because it's already a Poison type. So if Venusaur weren't a Poison type, it would be a lot easier to deal with. But they kind of made Venusaur really strong. You can only hit it with 2 super effective type moves that really do any damage, and that's Flying and Psychic. So if you're building a team for OU, make sure that you have a Pokemon with a Flying type move or a Psychic type move, so that you can deal with it, because if you don't, then you're going to have a bad time, because Venusaur can quite literally wall your entire team if you don't bring something for it. As you can see here, it's kind of just outliving a lot of my Pokemon with the leftovers, and it has Synthesis as well, so it really just lives and lives and lives and lives. I go for the Volt Switch here. Just want to switch out, get rid of the Leech Seed, get a little bit of damage, although it is resisted, and then the burn damage will be taking in on top of that. I go out into my Ferrothorn here, and the reason I went out into Ferrothorn is because Venusaur can't Leech Seed me. Obviously, I can't Leech Seed it, but I can finish up getting the rest of my spikes if I want to. I can go for Gyro Ball. There are a few things that I can do with my Ferrothorn here, where this Venusaur can't do anything to me. Venusaur can't hit me with a Poison-type move. If it hits me with a Grass-type move, it's not going to be doing anything to me. And sure, I am burned, or we're both burned. So eventually, one of us would die if we were, you know, down to that position. And I think I would be the one ending up winning that, because I have Gyro Ball and they would have like a Grass type move or something like that. The only time Venusaur beats Ferrothorn is if they're running HP Fire, and I'm pretty sure that Venusaur is not running it, considering it's running Leech Seed Synthesis, and I believe it has Giga Drain as well. So I highly doubt that it's running HP Fire as its last move. They end up going out into the Gallade here. This Gallade really, really wants to take out my Ferrothorn, but I'm definitely not going to be letting that happen, because I know that Ferrothorn walls Venusaur quite hard. So it's nice to have something else that can kind of wall them as well. They end up going for the Psycho Cut on my Azumarill. I thought that I might be able to live 2 here, and I was gravely mistaken. I end up losing my Azumarill here. It's not that big of a deal, but it would have been nice to have taken out this Gallade a little bit sooner than than I actually did. I get the burn off here, which is great though. Will-O-Wisp on a Gallade is kind of like a game over. There isn't too much Gallade can do after that, unless it's running Swords Dance, but I don't think this one is. They hit me with the knockoff to get rid of my leftovers. It's not too big of an issue, because I do have Pain Split on my Rotom, but I'm not going to be going for that right here. One, there's no reason to, because Gallade doesn't have that much more health than me, and I have Hydro Pump, and I go for the Hydro Pump. But I think that Gallade might actually be Assault Vested, because it took like no damage from my Hydro Pump, and I was actually quite surprised when I hit it with Hydro Pump. I was like, wait a second, did that really just do that little damage? But now I can start kind of playing around with Pain Split, because this Gallade has a little bit more health than me, and I can just kind of play games here a little bit. This Gallade is slowly draining my HP, and then I'm slowly stealing it back. Now, we're both gradually losing HP here. I decide to just end up going for the Hydro Pump this turn. I don't think that had I gone for Pain Split, I don't think that I could have lived another Drain Punch after that. So going for the Hydro Pump was my best option there. They're going to go back out into the Venusaur. Venusaur, of course, going to be taking Stealth Rocks and I believe 2 layers of Spikes. I don't think it's 3 quite yet. But I just go for the Pain Split here. I'm going to be getting a lot of my health back. And then I think Venusaur just Giga Drains it all back. So it's a little bit unfortunate. But, you know, it is what it is. it still actually ended up taking a little bit of HP away from Venusaur after, you know, Pain Split and Giga Drain, because it's percentage based and not like exact amount of health. Had it been exact amount of health, then Venusaur would have obviously gone straight back to where it was. But thankfully, that is not the case. I'm going to go out into my own Gallade here. However, I am Mega Gallade. You know, time to duel over here. I end up just going for the Psycho Cut. Venusaur is out of here. I could have brought Gallade in a lot earlier, probably, and finished off that Venusaur a lot sooner. But you never want to be too cocky. I haven't used Gallade that much, and it's been even fewer times that I've used a Gallade against Mega Venusaur. Jesus, that was difficult to say. So I don't really know, you know, the percents that Gallade deals to Venusaur as a Pokemon, and Venusaur with all the different Venusaur sets there are. 'Cause there's defensive Venusaur, there's specially defensive Venusaur, there's offensive Venusaur. There's so many different, you know, types of Venusaurs that are all viable, and that's the other thing. Like, all of them are viable. So I don't really know that matchup very well, and I don't like to calc things. It's just time consuming. And when I'm battling, I kind of want to get it over with as soon as possible. But they're out in the Azumarill here. End up just going for the Iron Head. Their Citrus Berry did pop, so that kind of tells me that they are Belly Drum Azumarill. However, I go for another Iron Head, and they're not actually able to get their Belly Drum off at all. So that ended up working out really well for me, because I was able to get the flinch. Had I not gotten the flinch, it could have been a different story, because this Azumarill probably would have swept my entire team had it been able to get a Belly Drum off. But they're just going for Aqua Jet here. Not going to be doing too much damage to me, as they have no like offense boosting item, and they never got to Belly Drum, so they have no attack boost whatsoever to Azumarill's base stat. And with Cobalion's defense, there isn't too much Azumarill can do after that. They're going to go out into the Dragonite here. Dragonite, of course, going to be taking Stealth Rock's damage. I ended up just going for the Volt Switch here. You can make the argument that I should have just stayed in and gone for Iron Head, but I didn't want this Dragonite to start setting things up on me, you know, all day. But I go out to my Ferrothorn. I kind of just wanted to see if they had Earthquake or Fire Punch. I wanted to see what they had, and it turns out that they had Earthquake and not Fire Punch, at least in that scenario, so it ended up working out for me. They could still definitely be running Fire Punch, so there's no doubt about that. But I kind of just wanted to see if I could get a Leech Seed off. But like I said, they are running Fire Punch. They actually ended up getting a crit there, which obviously didn't matter at all. But, you know, it's still the principle, you know what I mean? But they do take the Iron Barb's damage. And I really just wanted this Dragonite to take some damage so that I could come in with this thing, go for a Psycho Cut, and hopefully get the Oko here. Well, not really an Oko, like a 5, we'll call it a 5 Oko, because like 50 hit KO, like 50%, not like 50 individual hits. That would be, oh my gosh, that would be time consuming. But good game, Sophita. That was a really good game. It was one of the more fun matches I've had in a while. And I think it's just because I'm kind of mixing up my pokes a lot. I still like to use Ferrothorn. I know. But Ferrothorn is such an easy Pokemon to use. I talked about it a lot in my previous video. For those that are interested in the Showdown series, that will be postponed until after the suspect test is finished, which someone told me was like December 9th or something, so that's like a week from now. Actually, it's a little over a week from now, but it's a little unfortunate that we have to wait. I should have checked to see that there was like a suspect test going on for that long until then, but they you know, when they're doing a suspect test, the ladder continuously gets reset throughout. And, you know, there's no point in me getting to a decently high ladder ranking and then just to have it all reset. So we're going to postpone that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, guys, there should be another Wi-Fi battle coming up tomorrow. So until then, guys, may the hacks be with you all. Peace out.